Recently, chums, we spoke about a brand new memorial to our brilliant monarch of 70 years, Queen Elizabeth II. And I told you my thoughts about it being, outside Buckingham Palace, because I just truly believe that that's where people would get the most enjoyment from it. But also, it's sort of where, well, we expect to see her, really, don't we? That's the deal, Now, as you know, currently we have a lot of jealousies, should we say, from a couple over in the land of America regarding our British monarchy. And when you look also, you think, oh wow, this is kind of a one-off thing. But when I dug a little bit deeper, what I found in fact was, well, this has been going on some time. Let me explain. Morning, chums, lovely to see you. Thank you so much for joining me today. Nice to have your company. When you look at Buckingham Palace, as I often do, working down there, you think, wow, all those huge events that have happened in front of those gates, good and bad, deaths and births, marriages, all that sort of stuff. It literally is, well, there for us all to remember, isn't it? Alongside that is that splendid statue of Queen Victoria. And as I said, Queen Victoria's statue still reigns proud today, 100 plus years later. And that's because, of course, she was such a phenomenal reigning monarch. But did you know, in fact, that, well, her son, yes, Edward VII, the infamous Edward VII, Bertie as he was known, well, they didn't always get on eye to eye. A lot of people know that particular royal story. But you see, sadly, before his demise, he too felt that he should have his own statue outside Buckingham Palace. Oh yes, nothing new in the world of history, right? And so consequently, there was a bit of a to-ing and fro-ing behind the scenes. Well, then this happened. Let me explain. You see, while Edward VII didn't exactly get his memorial outside Buckingham Palace, well, up in Yorkshire, Huddersfield in fact, he did a little bit better. But naturally, Queen Victoria had a hand in that too. Let me explain. Victoria Memorial is a monument to Queen Victoria located at the end of the Mall in London by the sculptor Sir Thomas Brock. It was designed in 1901 and was unveiled on the 16th of May 1911, though not fully completed until 1924. It was a centrepiece of an urban planning scheme which included the creation of the Queen's Gardens to the designer Sir Aston Webb and the refacing of Buckingham Palace, which of course the memorial stands in front of. However, the statue of King Edward VII was commissioned by the sculptor Percy Bryant Baker of Chelsea at a cost of around £1,000 and formed part of around £24,000 of improvement made to the Huddersfield Infirmary Hospital, including the construction of the King Edward VII wing. It had been hoped that the statue would be officially unveiled as part of a royal visit of the King George and the Queen Mary to Huddersfield on Thursday the 11th of July 1912, but Baker was unable to guarantee that it will be completed, and at the time when the schedule was being finalised, it was thought it was impossible for the memorial to be ready, well, in time for the royal visit. Even though, of course, the Times put it in their newspaper claiming that would simply be the case. Things got a little bit tetchy though, because on the day when it was agreed finally that His Majesty the King may, of course, now unveil the statue, Queen Mary sat in the car and he quickly got out of the car and pulled down the cloth, and because they were 10 minutes behind schedule, simply drove on. You see, Edward VII couldn't quite get his own way even in death. As ever, thank you so much for joining me, and it's always lovely to have your company on these historical moments. It's nice to share it with you, isn't it? And more, what I find interesting, honestly, is the fact that if you dig a little bit and you look around and you think, you know what, nothing is simply new. There's always something gone on. And really, when you think, King Edward VII, it was an incredibly popular monarch. People forget that now because the record, of course, was at the time when movies, motion picture and all that sort of stuff were just starting out, but he was incredibly popular. But of course, time moves on and a lot of people forget just how popular he was. He knew it, and that's the reason why he wanted his statue outside Buckingham Palace. Neil Sean in the very heart of London.